Hello and welcome. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about loan repayment tables. Now, this is a skill that you've probably practiced a lot in terms of understanding annuities, right? Instead of understanding how a recurrence relation works and how the actual structure of paying off a loan works. But what loan repayment tables do is they give you all of this information in a nice, neat little format in terms of often calculating how much your monthly repayment might be. Now, you need to be aware with your loan repayment tables, you won't have any two sort of being the same. They all sort of come in different shapes, forms, depending on your textbook, depending on the question, depending on all of these sort of things. But they all sort of do, in general, the same thing, okay? And that is they'll often give you your monthly or your fortnightly payments or something along those lines that the question will then often get you to calculate how much in total you pay back on the loan or other things like that. Okay, they'll do various sort of things with it, but they all sort of have the same general, same style. Okay, all right, so let's dive in. Let's have a little bit of a look at example one here. So the table below gives the monthly loan repayments required to pay off various loans in 10 years. Okay, so your loans that you're going to have here are going to be across a 10-year term, which I've just highlighted. All right, so for part A, it says for a loan with a 10-year term, calculate the amount of interest paid. So calculate the amount of interest paid on $50,000 at 6% per annum. So what we need to do this, okay, is we need to use this table. Okay, so we're given a few bits of important information in the table. One thing is in this particular column, it talks about our principal borrowed, and we'll use that to identify the row that we're going to go into. And going across the top here, we're given what our loan will be repaid at with an interest rate per annum. Okay, so we want to find the 6% per annum, okay, which is here. All right, from our question, we want to find our. We now want to go down this row to make sure that we can find the $50,000 principal because that's our loan. Okay, and you'll notice that we end up in here. So what this table tells us is our monthly repayments. Okay, so our monthly repayments. Okay, which in this particular case is $555.10. What we're trying to do is we're trying to calculate the amount of interest paid on the loan at 6% per annum. To do that, we need to find the total amount repaid first. Okay. All right, now that we have the monthly repayment, we can actually do that. So to find the total amount repaid first, so total repaid, that's going to be our monthly repayment across 10 years. And how many repayments do we make inside of each of these 10 years? Well, we make 12 of them, okay, because we're paying each month, all right? So it's our monthly repayment times 10 because we're doing this across 10 years of our loan, times 12 because we're doing this across 12 months each. All right. And this will get us our total amount repaid, which will give us 66,000 if you enter this in the calculator and $612. So that's our total amount repaid. Now, to find our interest, which is the thing that we're really, really interested in, to find our interest, it's the total amount that we repay, 66,612, and we subtract off the principal of the loan of $50,000. And what that'll do is it'll leave you with $16,612, okay, that extra that you've paid on top of the principal that you've borrowed across your 10-year term, okay? So that's how you calculate the interest, right? So that's sort of question one done. So you can sort of see how we've dived in, we've used the table to sort of answer that, okay? For part B, it says, how much extra do you pay per month if you were to increase the interest rate of the loan by 1% per annum? Okay, so for this one, we might pick a little bit of a different color and we might go with purple to sort of understand that. If we're increasing the interest rate of the loan by 1%, but we're keeping everything else the same, our monthly repayments are now going to jump to be $580.54. Okay, so how much extra do we pay per month? Well, so extra repaid, we put per month. It's always good to tell the person reading our work exactly what we're doing. So extra repaid per month is equal to, if we just go back up, $580.54. And then we're going to subtract off our original monthly repayment that we have from this question, which was the $555.10. So $550.10. And what we'll be left with is $25.44. Okay. All right. So that's how much extra we're paying per month. All right, which can add up to be quite a little bit across the term of the loan if we aren't careful. So we want to make sure that we keep those interest rates as low as possible, because $25 times 10 years times 12 months each is going to give us an extra $3,052.80 across a 10-year loan. So we need to be very, very careful with that. Okay, that's essentially how we use our most basic form of loan repayment table. We might dive into the next question and have a little bit of a look at how we might use that. Okay, it looks slightly different. So for example 2, again, we're using a loan repayment table. Again, we're given repayment amounts, except this time we're given repayment amounts for 1 year, 1.5 years, and 2 years. We're also given loan amounts, but for each 1 year, 18 months, and 2 years, we're given how much our repayment amounts will be in both a monthly format and a fortnightly format. Okay. All right. So let's look at part A. What is the total amount to repay if you have a loan of $30,000 over 2 years with monthly repayments? Okay. So looking at this question, you'll notice that you're not actually given an interest rate in this particular one. Okay, so we might be able to assume that all of the loans are going to be across at the same interest rate, and we're just looking at different terms, which is times. Okay, and looking at different payment structures in terms of whether it'll be monthly or fortnightly. Okay, right. So a slightly different thing compared to what we did in the last question. Okay, so we need to find the total amount to repay for a loan of $30,000 over 2 years, if we're using monthly repayments. Okay, so these are our 3 most important things looking at the table. All right, so the first things first, we need to identify that we're here looking at $30,000, so we're in that row. We're here in 2 years, all right, and we're looking at monthly repayments. So lining everything up, our monthly repayments are going to be $1,402. So our monthly repayment is going to be $1,402. Okay, and I'm just using M not for monthly, M for money. Okay, we're just talking about that as being our regular contribution to the loan. All right, in terms of everything. So the total amount to repay, right? If you think about it, so total to repay. Okay, this isn't interest or anything, this is just total, so it's slightly different from the last question, but uses the same skill, is equal to our regular contribution, so $1,402, across our 2 years of our loan, right, times 12 again, because we have 12 months inside of each year. Okay, all right, when you plug all of that into your calculator, so 1,402 times 2 times 12, you're going to end up with $33,648. Okay, so that's the total amount that you have to repay across the entire time of your loan. Okay, all right. So part B is how much interest do you save if you choose fortnightly repayments for the loan instead? Well, we might do this in purple. Okay, all right, so that means we go up to the same thing. Our principal is the same, our loan term's the same. However, this time we're using $646 as our regular contribution, so per fortnight. All right, so our regular contributions in this case, M will equal $646. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to find the total amount to repay again. So total to repay using this payment structure, and we're going to have 646 times 2 years, but this time we want to think about how many fortnights we have inside of our year, and the answer is 26. Okay, all right. So once you've done all of this, 646 times 2 times 26, you're going to end up with $33,592. All right. Now we want to find how much interest we save. So we want to find interest saved. And we want to take this amount and we want to subtract away the total amount that we will pay if we're doing fortnightly. Okay, So we want to take our monthly total amount to repay. We want to subtract our fortnightly amount that we've just sort of calculated. All right. And it's not going to be much. You'll notice there's not a big difference. Okay. You put that into your calculator and you'll notice that you end up only saving around about $56. Okay. But savings are saving. All right. And you won't notice that big of a difference because your loan term is only across 2 years. This might begin to add up a little bit more if you're doing like a bigger loan term because you're paying it off slightly faster in slightly faster, smaller increments before interest can build up. Okay. All right. So that's how you use loan repayment tables. There's nothing too tricky about them. You've used a lot of the skills before. Okay. It's just about reading the information off of a table and adjusting it to make sure that everything pops in. Okay. I hope you found that helpful. Thank you very much.